Welcome to Already Overbooked. My name's Josh, and today we are doing the books that I'm going to go through and read in March. So let's just jump on in. The first one I'm going to go through and read is a book that was recommended by Carly. She has a brand new channel. Carly is awesome. Go through and check out her stuff. The link to her channel is going to be in the description. But she went through recently and read Bear Town by Frederick Bachman. And this is supposed to be an amazing story about a small town who goes through some problems. And it's supposed to be a really good contemporary type story. So I'm very excited to go through and read Beartown because this was Carly's first 5-star read on her channel. So, Carly, I'm going to go through and read this. And if it's not good, I'm going to let you know. The next one on my list is a book that I've heard so much things about. I've heard everyone talk about how amazing this book is, and the cover of this really pops when you go through and pick it off the shelf. And that is Chain Gang All Star. And I am super excited to go through and read this book. Every single person that reads this says this is probably one of the best books that they've read all year. So I have a lot of expectations for this book. Before jumping in and getting too much into what it's about, I'm really expecting this to be the best book of the month. But we'll go through and see. Have you read Chain Gang All Star? Let me know how amazing this is. I'm really curious your thoughts if you read this. The next one on my list is a book that I mentioned I wanted to read this year, a book series I wanted to go through and read this year, and that is the book one of Prince of Thorns, the by Mark Lawrence, The Broken Empire. So I've heard a lot of different things about this book series. I hear the main character is very unlikable. This book's very dark, and you're either going to completely hate this book or you're going to love it. So I'm hoping I'm going to go through and really enjoy this book. I have the next book in the series. I'm going to wait to buy the third one until I read the first two, and we'll see how that one is. But I'm going to read Prince of Thorns this month and start jumping into the Broken Empire series. So super excited to go through and read that one. And the next one is another book that I planned on reading this year because of a buddy of mine who every time I talk with him, he's asking me, have you read the Bob Lee Swagger book? Have you read Bob Lee Swagger? Wes, I'm getting to it. This month, I'm reading Bob Lee Swagger, book one of Point of Impact. If I know the series is still going on now, so there's still new books coming out, but this is a big series. So we'll see if I enjoy book one. I'm going to go through and continue the series with me catching up with Reacher this year. I need a new big series that's a thriller that I can kind of squeeze in between all the fantasy and sci-fi books I go through and read. So maybe Bob Lee Swagger be the person. So I'll let you know, Wes, once I finish this book. The next one is a buddy read I'm doing with Fina, the Coral Bone. So I recently and got this. I think I discussed this a good bit on my last book haul, my only book haul that I have on the channel, where I went through and talked about winning this book. Fina also got this book as well, so we're going to be doing a buddy read. We should be doing it on March 24th. I don't know if we have a set time yet. If so, I'll put it right there. If not, I'll let you guys know when we're going through and reading this book. So pick yourself up a copy, read it this month with Fina and I, and we'll have a good conversation with us when we go through and discuss this on March 24th. The next book I have that I want to read this month is from Lee Hall. I went through and read his most recent book, This Last Outlaw. I read this last month. And it was amazing. It's a very short book, but this is a prequel story to his main series. So I love this. This was probably one of my favorite books that I've read so far this year. Easily top 5 of best books that I've read this year. So I had to go through and pick up book one, Open Evening. And we'll see how the rest of his books are with the continuation of the story. I think this was his first book that he went through and wrote. I could be mistaken. Lee, if you see this, let me know if I'm wrong with that. But I'm super excited to go through and read Open Evening to kind of see that horror aspect in modern time based off of what we learned in The Last Outlaw. So I'm very curious on how it's going to go through and connect. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So going to be jumping in to book one, Open Evening. The next one I have is book one of the 87th Precinct, Cop Hater by Ed McBain. This was recommended by Kevin Toll from Kevin Toll Reads. Kevin is a good friend of mine on BookTube, and he really enjoys the 87th Precinct novels. So I want to go through and jump in because we definitely have a lot in common when it comes to these type of thriller detective stories. We seem to be on the same page 99 of 100. So I'm expecting to love this series and then start continuing the series and maybe do my best to catch up to Kevin. But Kevin's a machine and he reads so many books. But I'm going to try to catch up with you, Kevin. The next one is a book that a book series I've been going through and reading constantly on the channel. Is book number 7 of the Repairman Jack series. I am super excited to continue. I heard from Chris at Bearded Book Beast that this is when things start getting crazy. So I'm in. Every single book builds off each other and it keeps getting better and better and better. If you've not read Repairman Jack, jump in, catch up with me, and we can go through and continue. I only read one book a month, so grab these books. They're so good. This is easily becoming one of my favorite series of all time. So, Repairman Jack, book number 7, Gateways. The next one is a ebook that I have. I'll put it here, but I want to hold something up also. So it is a Richard Bachman, also known as Stephen King. I'm going to be going through and reading The Long Walk. This is a book that was recommended by Jake at The Book is Drummer. Jake is a huge Stephen King guy. I feel like that he's read every single book by Stephen King 17 times. So I take his opinion on Stephen King books very seriously. He said to go through and read the Long Walk. So I'm going to go through and give it a read and let you know, Jake, my thoughts on that book. The last one on my list, so book number 10 that I'm going to go through and read in March is Knots and Crosses, book number 1 in the Inspector Rebus series. I can't remember who told me to read this book. Someone told me to read this. Someone is a fan of Inspector Rebus. I cannot recall who. I'm so sorry. If it was you, let me know down in the comments and I'll add it in somewhere. So I'm super excited about this one. This one's supposed to give a horror aspect, detective horror aspect. So I'm super excited. And the book's short. I think it's less than 200 pages, so I can knock this out in an afternoon. But I'm going to go through and read book 1 of Knots and Crosses. So yeah, so these are the 10 books I'm going to be going through and reading in March. Not that many fantasy books. Or really, I think there's only one that's technically fantasy. So I was looking to switch it up a little bit this month and try a little bit more thriller or horror side for March and, get through a little bit shorter books. And then next month, I'll probably lean back into a little bit more of those big, thick books. So we'll get there. So let me know down in the comments if you read any of these 10 books or if you're going to join me in reading any of them. I would think it would be awesome. We can go through and chit chat with them in the comments. And so, yeah, I really do appreciate you stopping by. Don't forget to like, subscribe. You know what to do. Till I see you in the next one.